In the small village of Nso, nestled in the rolling hills of Cameroon, there lived a pastor named John. He was a kind and compassionate man, loved by all who knew him. Pastor John had a beautiful daughter named Grace, who was the apple of his eye. Grace was a bright and cheerful young girl, with a smile that could light up the darkest of rooms. She was loved by all who knew her, and was especially close to her father. One day, a new family moved into the village. They were a wealthy family, with a son named Tamla. Tamla was a handsome and charming young man, who quickly caught Grace's eye. Grace and Tamla began to spend more and more time together, and soon they fell deeply in love. Pastor John was happy to see his daughter so happy, and he welcomed Tamla into their family with open arms. But not everyone was happy about Grace and Tamla's relationship. Tamla's parents were wealthy and influential, and they did not approve of their son dating a pastor's daughter. They wanted Tamla to marry a girl from a wealthy family, not a poor pastor's daughter. Despite the objections of Tamla's parents, the young couple continued to see each other in secret. They would meet in hidden places and steal kisses whenever they could. One of Grace's closest friends was a girl named Faith. Faith was a kind and loyal friend who always had Grace's best interests at heart. She was worried about Grace and Tamla's relationship, and she begged Grace to be careful. But Grace was too much in love to listen. She and Tamla continued to see each other, despite the danger of being discovered. Another girl in the village was named Burka. Burka was a beautiful and flirtatious girl who had a reputation for breaking hearts. She had set her sights on Tamla, and she was determined to steal him away from Grace. Burka began to flirt shamelessly with Tamla, and he was tempted by her charms. But he loved Grace too much to betray her, and he rejected Burka's advances. Burka was furious. She had never been rejected by a man before, and she didn't know how to handle it. She began to spread rumors about Grace and Tamla, trying to destroy their reputation in the village. But the villagers were not fooled. They knew that Burka was a troublemaker, and they didn't believe her lies. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, Binla, Tamla's sister, came to the village. Binla was a spoiled and selfish girl who had always gotten her way. She was determined to break up Grace and Tamla, and she began to spread even more lies about them. But Grace and Tamla were strong. They knew that their love was true, and they were determined to make it work. They ignored the rumors and the lies, and they continued to see each other in secret. Finally, the day arrived when Tamla's parents discovered that he was still seeing Grace. They were furious, and they forbade Tamla from ever seeing Grace again. Tamla was heartbroken. He didn't know what to do, and he felt trapped. But then he remembered the words of Pastor John, who had once told him that true love was worth fighting for. Tamla realized that he had to fight for his love for Grace. He went to his parents and begged them to understand, to see that his love for Grace was real. Slowly but surely, Tamla's parents began to see things from his perspective. They realized that their son was truly in love, and they began to accept Grace as a part of their family. And so, Grace and Tamla were finally able to be together, without fear of reprisal. They were married in a beautiful ceremony, surrounded by their friends and family. Pastor John beamed with pride as he gave his daughter away, and Faith was by Grace's side as her maid of honor. Burka and Binla were not invited to the wedding, and they were left to ponder the consequences of their actions. Grace and Tamla lived happily ever after, surrounded by the love and support of their family and friends. They knew that their love had overcome many obstacles, and they were grateful for every moment they spent together. As they settled into married life, Grace and Tamla faced new challenges. They had to navigate the complexities of married life and learn to communicate effectively with each other. But they were determined to make their marriage work. They attended counseling sessions and worked hard to build a strong foundation for their relationship. Meanwhile, Burka and Binla were still reeling from the consequences of their actions. They had underestimated the strength of Grace and Tamla's love, and they had paid the price. Burka was particularly bitter. She had never been rejected by a man before, and she couldn't handle the fact that Tamla had chosen Grace over her. She began to spread even more rumors about Grace and Tamla, trying to destroy their reputation in the village. But no one believed her, and she was left to face the consequences of her actions alone. Binla, on the other hand, was beginning to see the error of her ways. She had been blinded by her own selfish desires, and she had hurt people she cared about. She began to make amends, apologizing to Grace and Tamla for her part in trying to break them up. It wasn't easy, but she was determined to make things right. As the months passed, Grace and Tamla's marriage continued to grow stronger. They faced challenges, of course, but they faced them together. And in the end, they emerged stronger and more in love than ever. The birth of a new generation. Years passed, and Grace and Tamla built a happy life together. They had children and grandchildren, and their love continued to grow with each passing day. Their children grew up and had children of their own. And as they looked back on their parents' story, they were inspired by the power of true love. They knew that their parents' love had overcome many obstacles, and they were grateful for the example they had set. And so, the story of Grace and Tamla was passed down from generation to generation, a reminder of the transformative power of true love.